Hello, World Tank Blitzers. It's Littlefinger. It's Friday, April 14th, and that means another store review. You'll see in my garage the TL7 120. I told you last week, do not gamble on the containers for this tank. I did, but I'm sitting at 123,000 gold, so I took that 16,000 and I purchased 12 containers. I got lucky to get it within the first 12. You typically will probably have to go to get the 30 charms in order to get the tank. It is a American heavy tier 9. It doesn't have quite the gun depression that you would expect for an American heavy. It is pretty slow. Traverse speed is pretty bad. It does have some nice armor on the front here that you're going to get some bounces on the hull. However, when we look in at the turret on this, the cupola here is a giant target and it pens just about every single time. So I'm not a big fan of the tank, and my stance from last week is still the same. Don't purchase this tank in containers. All right, so one other thing to mention here, we've got the gold box offer back. This is 750 gold per dollar, which we know is a very good deal. Of course, you've got to fill that up with getting victories before you make the purchase. So let's jump into the store, and we're just going to talk tanks this week, nothing else. We've got the S35. This is a tier 3 German tank. Back in the day, I'm an old man here. This tank used to be pretty fun to play. Not so much anymore, so I don't recommend this purchase. Primarily because you're going to spend $5 here, and even if you wanted to sell it, you're only getting 1,200 gold. That's a horrible exchange, so it's not even a good deal for a purchase, a play, and sell option here. So let's stay away from that. We've got the Lava here. And if we look, 5,500 divided by 12, 458. So really the best bet here is if you can get that 750 gold somewhere in the store or that pop-up offer, purchasing this with the gold is your better deal. Now, who does this tank suit? I honestly think that this would be a good first or second tier 8 tank for those of you that are working your way up the tiers, and you feel like you're ready for tier 8. The reason I say that, first, for this 5,500, typically we see a tier 8 at 7,500. So you're getting a discount on the tank that's been around obviously for a long time. Number one, it has good armor. We can keep this just slightly angled, so you're showing just a little bit of the side and getting a little bit more effective armor on the front here. It's going to be just this little part here that's pretty much pennable for most tanks. So that's kind of a small target area. If you're moving back and forth, you make it that much harder. If you get over rotated on the tank here, the sides are very weak and it's easy to pen. Now, what you'll notice here is we've got very good gun accuracy for a heavy tank. This is before any equipment. Good aim time, 310 average damage, and it is one of the highest credit coefficients. So you're gonna make money in this tank by playing it. So those, on top of the fact you're gonna get 30 days of premium time and 500,000 silver, make this quite a good deal, especially for those that I said before. Working your way up, maybe this is your first or second tier 8 premium tank, I think this is a good deal. For those of you that may already have a higher collection of tier 8s, you might not like the tank as much, as I don't think it fits in the top 5 tier 8 premium tanks. The K91 is a nice tank, but I don't like it for this price. That works out to be quite steep. If we take 20 multiplied by 750, that's 15,000 gold, which would be a price for a tier 10 tank. This is a bit steep right now for just, just paying cash for it. Tank itself is quite nice. You've got some interesting angles on the turret here. 3-shell autoloader, good mobility. I certainly like this tank more than I do the TL that I recently purchased and talked about at the opening of this video. So let's get into the deal that I kind of like right now. Double impact. You've got the T-54E2. You probably know this tank as the Shark, one of the better tier 8 heavy tanks, maybe one of the best. It plays hull down game like a boss. It's got great armor, good gun depression, good accuracy. Look at this at 0.293, 10 degrees of gun depression. Yeah, you can pin this cupola a little bit, but again, if you're moving, you're making that harder to hit. And this is certainly, in my opinion, one of the top tier 8 tanks. Now, I cannot speak to the T-77 because I don't own it yet. I will be purchasing it. Let's see. We've got 2 shells in the magazine with a 20-second reload time. So that's what's going to be the difficulty in playing this tank. I am not sure about the armor profile just yet. I'll report back next week on that. But we get that same 10 degrees of gun depression. The dispersion's up quite a bit from the Shark. So, you know, you might have a little bit less accuracy, missing a few more shots with this tank. But if we look at it, you can purchase it on its own for 10,000 gold, which is still high for a tier 8 tank. Love to see that 7,500. But as I said, T-54 is one of the better tanks. You won't be disappointed in it. You won't be upset about the 8,500. I do now notice that K91, they've put them underneath each other here. Much better deal at 10,000 gold. You know, like I said, comparing this to the 10,000 of the T-77, this is certainly a better deal. It's a tier 9. You're getting the 5X. You've got an order here for 3 mystery containers. Not big on the mystery containers, so that really doesn't add a lot of value to me. But hey, it really depends, I think, on what tier you prefer playing. All right, so moving on, we've got the T-25. This is a tier 5 German medium. Really used to like this tank back in the day. Mobility is pretty good. The accuracy on this tank is quite nice. 0.34, 3.6. Felt like this tank actually played a little bit better than those numbers there. You know, the difficulty here being tier 5, you're going to get 14 days of premium time, 1,500. It's a great price, and the 5X boosters, you're getting 10 of them. You can play those for any tank. So if you do decide to jump on this deal, make sure that you don't play this tank first. Make sure that you use those 5X boosters on tanks that you're grinding on the tech tree. All right, we've got an always vigilant combination here with a tier 7 and a tier 6. The M41D, very difficult tank to play. I am not going to lie about that. This is through and through light tank that you know, you're going to be facing the KV2s and the Smashers and the SUs, a lot of dirt guns out there that can easily drop 1,000 hit points on you, and you've only got 1,060. So yeah, it's not fun getting one-shotted in a tank like this. However, it's going to have 8 degrees of gun depression, 70 kilometers per hour. So your skills and light tank driving are critical to playing this tank well. I feel like the pen on this is not great, 168, and it's a tough tank to play. It honestly is. The Panzer IV-S, love this tank. Iconic if you can get the Star Wars there, camo on it. 0.303 dispersion, aim time 2.7, 10 degrees of gun depression, 44 kilometers per hour as top speed. Tier 6, this tank does play very well at tier 6, and this bundle does come with that Star Wars camo there that you see here. All right, so, you know, 6,000, I feel like that might be a little bit high for these two tanks, but it really depends on your playstyle. If you like the light tank playstyle, then sure, go for it. But if not, I would stay away from this one here. And finally, talked about this last week. 4 days left on this deal here. 12,500. Action X, one of the great tier 8 heavy tanks. You know, it's got good gun depression, 10 degrees. It is high firing, low damage gun, which means that you have to be on target more, but the armor profile on this is quite nice. I would say the hatch being a little bit further back is a little bit harder to hit than the shark. But I'd take the shark over the Action X, but only by a small margin. And then the Lansen, tier 8 Swedish medium tank here. I like this tank a lot. Reason being, you've got 320 average damage on it. So you've got a little bit longer of a reload time. Your damage per minute number is probably not great compared to other mediums at the tier, but 10 degrees of gun depression, 55 kilometers per hour of top speed. You can use that, you know, higher pop per shot, let's call it, to your advantage. Just be wary that you don't really want to get into a 1v1 brawling situation so much with this tank. So use that good accuracy. Play this one at a little bit more of a distance than you would maybe some of your typical mediums. And this tank can be quite fun. Had some wonderful battles in it. I don't think you'd be disappointed in this tank. Great bundle together. I think the price is pretty good for those two tanks combined. So only 4 days left on that. And I know, I think at least one person in the comments last week said that they were going to purchase that. Would love to hear what you think of those two tanks, and if you own those two tanks, what you think about them as well. And of course, you know, as far as getting the 750 gold per dollar here, you can get that in the store. As you notice here, the $10 bundle is at 6,500, meaning that the 75K $10 box here is a little bit better of a deal. So make sure you fill that up if you're looking to buy gold for a good price at a low entry point. So with that, guys, hope you have a wonderful weekend. Leave any comments you want. I do read all the comments. Don't always get time to comment on them all. And of course, if you're new to the channel, you're liking my content, please hit that subscribe button. So remember, get educated, not fingered. Littlefinger out.